do you think Trump's re-election will be will benefit or suffer for this? Because I know a lot of us are, well, all of us right now are in the United States. Do you think the politicization has something to do with the politicization of the coronavirus has something to do with the re-election this year?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Absolutely. And now I'm going to preface what I'm going to say with this. I hope, but I don't believe, I have no knowledge that any party or group in America assisted or tried to bring this pandemic to be. Now, with that, and going back to Mattea's, don't let this new thing lose the opportunity to make something happen from it. Yeah, it is absolutely become politicized, and political points are absolutely being outwardly affected and attempted to derail Trump, and you can see it in almost every mainstream media news report. Yesterday, perfect example. Yesterday, a scientist is on in the press conference explaining the things that they have discovered if has a negative effect on the virus. Sunlight, UV rays, bleach to a certain extent. The biggest thing is rubbing alcohol, right? So, and now I was in my truck, so I was listening, but I could see Trump when he came up and then asked the scientist a question. So knowing these things affect the virus so badly, couldn't we use them on the people to try to kill the virus now, instead of trying to kill the side effects that have come on because of the virus? And he said, if rubbing alcohol works, can't we get that to the virus? And the scientist said, I've never thought about that. To which then the media replies in exasperation all at once, trying to ask, so are you saying that you want to pour rubbing alcohol down their lungs? And in my mind, I mean, I've had open lung biopsies multiple times, so I know what they do. I've seen it. I've woken up during the surgery and been able to see inside my lungs. It's so cool. I could see them taking a swab that has rubbing alcohol on it, medical grade, and I could see them cleansing in the lung. I could see that, right? That's not pouring rubbing alcohol into the ventilator, but yet they're going to take his logical processing of ideas in trying to come to a resolution and turn it against him and make him appear to be this fool. And any person who is actually attempting to try to resolve this should be thinking the same thing. Think outside the box. Don't think within the little box that is here and now and created. Let's think outside the box to try to come up with something that'll actually allow us to move on from this. Democrats are behind. They have no candidate. I mean, Biden is a train wreck, and Bernie. The country's just not going to get behind a socialist yet. That's not where the country's at. They're a train wreck. And so what do? Let's try to destroy him. And at every turn, what they're not understanding is that he sees where they're going before they make that move. And he already has his counter planned out. And if he doesn't, he's so fast on his feet that he's already pivoted there. As they're speaking, he makes that pivot. You can see it in the press conferences. A reporter will ask a gotcha question, and he is, you can you can watch his mind and see the workings of his mind as he's dissecting the question before they're even done asking it, to pivot to overtake that question. But they're totally politicizing it.
That's really interesting, because you're giving Trump a lot of credit that not many people are giving him. We're not asking this question to pretend that we're political pundits or anything like that. But again, it's a time capsule type question, you know. Do you think, as a conservative Christian on and off campus, do you think that the coronavirus will affect negatively or positively the U.S. election?
Personally, I'm Canadian, but I'm entrenched in American politics. The one thing that I think is very interesting is the stimulus packages across the board, both in America and in Canada. I think it's going to be very interesting to see just how heavily the citizenry of both countries are going to rely upon that, because it's very socialistic, but especially here in America, the stimulus package was heavily influenced by Democrats, and it was a lot of it was a political agenda. And so, for example, Nancy Pelosi tried to throw into that package abortion funding, which has nothing to do with the coronavirus whatsoever. It's not healthcare, and so why would it be in a coronavirus relief package? So it absolutely will affect, I think, to a good, for the positive. I recognize and acknowledge that there has been a lot of negative, but one of the coolest things that people on both sides, now I'm friends with socialists, communists, leftists, and conservatives across the board. So from almost every camp except the communists, everybody is saying that they appreciate what President Trump has done, and that is bring the power back to the states. So, for example, Georgia, just the governor of Georgia came out with their plan, and it's a very fast, aggressive, get people back to work plan, and he skipped a step that President Trump had produced in his own plan. And so it's been very interesting, because President Trump went on the record saying that he had a call-in with the governor of Georgia, saying that he was not really in support of this aggressive plan, but nonetheless, he is going to allow states to follow through. It's based in the Constitution. It's a revival of the Constitution. And that has been a really positive thing that I think will in turn be very good. I've worked on so many campaigns, national, local, that I think this will be a really positive thing for President Trump's reelection.
Thanks, Mattea. Monica, thoughts on this?
Well, I think of the president as a business owner oftentimes, and overall I think he's doing what he's able to do. As it was mentioned before, like presidents, they act different according to the constituents or the places that they are leading. I am originally from Peru, and in Peru right now is really strict. As far as whether it will have some impact on his candidacy, yes, I can see why. At the same time, I think there are many who are actually are okay with the work that he's doing, but they won't say it. Like Mattea was mentioning, I do appreciate the fact that he put into each governor the decision to whether to open their state or not, because they are in touch, or they should be in touch with the reality of their state. And I think that is delegating responsibility instead of him trying to take over the different states, which I think will be much more difficult. So I think that is good for him to go ahead and delegate that responsibility to others, because once again, governors and going down the list, they know what is going on in their cities or in their states. So I think that is a good point for him.
And you know what, just from a purely political perspective, because I've been a campaigner for so long, I know for a fact that this is politically, strategically smart move, just for the fact that President Trump has been attacked mercilessly. And so this actually takes the onus off of him and places it onto the individual governors. So just if you're wanting to get into politics, just look at who's always being attacked, and then find the positives of moving that attack outwards, and not directly on the individual. So just little political point there for you.
Oh, we're gonna have to connect, Mattea.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So,
I agree. And
So we have-
what was fascinating was he actually had said, he had said something about pushing to get the country reopened, and immediately the press came and pivoted to him and claimed that he was trying to be the king and dictator. And he said, no, you know what? It's the governor's choice. And it was perfect. And I agree with that. Now, my own county, the county commissioners came out with a not safer at home plan, but a safer at work plan yesterday. Our
Smart.
county is getting ready to completely open up.
Mm.
That's
And
awesome.
in complete violation and contradiction of Governor Polis. But in Colorado, I mean, we kind of do our own thing up here in Weld County, and we are getting ready to open up, and now it's caused a little conflict in the home because I'm ready to get for the country to get back moving again. Is this a little too fast to open everything up? Maybe, but it all depends on how the people handle themselves and manage themselves to be safe for each other and themselves.
So true.
And that's the way I see it. But
So true.